Hello, everyone, Applied Theater Universe and beyond. I am Grace Robinson, and I am here with my wonderful good friend, Danielle Guy. She is a jack of all trades. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. I will let her tell you a little bit more about herself, and we will go from there. So I will turn it over to you, Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny, and I am a theater director slash producer, and I am also a sex educator. And I guess my expertise is in alternative sexual lifestyles.
Amazing. It's fascinating. So, when it comes to sexual education, what exactly is it that you do, like what you specialize in?
Okay, so I guess an overall general thing is I help people connect with their bodies and what sexuality looks like to them. A lot of times I do that through helping them figure out their self-expression and let them lead it and just give gentle nudges and asking questions that will help them come to self-discovery. So that's kind of like the general term. Also looking at things such as health, consent, and trauma relief. And
Okay,
then
cool.
underneath that, I also help people when they're looking for specific like sex toys or anything that might help them with sexual health, such as like Kegel balls or dilators, stuff like that. And then underneath that, that's when if someone is asking about alternative sexual lifestyles such as BDSM, that is like my expertise that people will come to me for.
Sweet. So, what got you into this business and like why did you decide to pursue it?
So I come from a background of some very intense sexual trauma from when I was a child. And from there, I've kind of throughout my life gone through a journey, even with my artistic side, that had to do with consent and also movement and bodies. And so I think that it's a very important part of humanity that people are suppressing, especially the people who have a lot of trauma. So I kind of accidentally fell into it. But just from what I've learned and through my journey, I have decided that I want to help people give back and what has been taken from them and empower them. I think that is one of the most empowering
Absolutely.
things that you can do for a person. And I'm always very happy to help someone reclaim themselves.
Absolutely. So, as I am in an applied theater class, do you feel that your background in theater has helped you in any way? And if so, how?
Yeah, definitely. So as a director, it's really helpful when I am having a conversation with someone where my personal directing style is not outright telling someone to do what I want them to. It's asking questions to lead them to it. So it is a self-discovery and also opening the door for interpretation as well. Things that I couldn't have thought of that some person through the process will be able to figure out. So having that flexibility and also that aim is very good for that kind of work. Also, I believe, especially as a female in theater, I am definitely heightened with my awareness of bodies and consent and touching. So I think that I'm very, very overly aware to make sure that people feel comfortable and everything is done in a safe, sane, consensual way. And also, a flair for the dramatic. So
Absolutely.
I'm just like,
Well, I
oh,
have
let's
felt
make this an
comfortable
entire
every
thing.
time that I've worked with you.
Where it's like, oh, you want to have a night all to yourself? We're gonna get this, and you're gonna get this, and we'll have candles and music, and it will be a big old thing.
And that is one of my favorite things about this woman. So, what is your favorite part about being a sexual educator?
I think it's just seeing people, there is like an aha moment that people have when you've been having a dialogue with them and you've been trying to lead them to, I don't know, a situation or a conclusion. And they have this little turning moment It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, or especially if it's like, hey, you shouldn't be experiencing pain during penetrative sex. And it's this, oh, or hey, you feel like, some people come and they're like, I just can't orgasm. And so I'm broken. And so being able to be like, 70% of women are not able to have an orgasm just from penetrative sex. And it's just it's like, yes, you can breathe. It's just that breath of being like, I am normal and what I want is normal. And so it's just very heartening to see.
Absolutely. And that is, it's good info. It's
Hmm.
good info. Um, so what is like when you are working with someone, what is the biggest thing that you want them to take away? If they wouldn't take away anything else that you gave them, what is the one thing that you want them to leave with?
That they have control over their bodies. A lot of times people will come in and they'll be looking for a toy for or a piece of lingerie for a partner. And one of the first things that I ask them is either what is your sexual goal or what do you want to feel like in this lingerie? And seeing that moment of turning where they came in thinking about their partner predominantly, but then being able to have them think about themselves is very important. And I feel like a lot of people don't have the idea that they have the advocacy for themselves, even within, say, a very loving relationship. Even though it might be the best relationship in the entire world, some people feel like they cannot speak up for themselves or express
Mm-hmm.
who they are sexually simply because they're afraid of offending or hurting their partner. And that is the number one thing that I have found will kind of break down a relationship sexually, and also your sexual confidence.
It's good stuff. And my last question, and then I will ask you if you have anything else you would like to address, is why is it important to you?
It's so important because we have, I say we as a collective we, many people have grown up in a society or in a community that tells them that sex is not necessarily their choice, whether that
Mm-hmm.
be sexuality, gender, representation, who they are as a person, when they decide to have sex, when they decide not to, who they have sex with, etc. It's just a lack of power. And I think that's ridiculous. I've always thought it was ridiculous. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that part of it is because you don't have people willingly talking about it or being casual with their conversation about sex and what it is. I think that that is definitely something that has really brought us down this path of lack of self-control, assaults, pregnancy, STIs, what have you. And so the more that we're able to normalize it, the more I think that people will be able to protect themselves, to actually ask the important questions of themselves and their autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And also being able to call other people out when they are not acting in a way that they should. So
Yes.
I've always thought that the best way to do that is through education. And of course, my personal opinion that the education system is extremely lacking when it comes to sexual education. So now we as adults have to fill in the gaps for what people should have learned a very long time ago anyway. So I think
Yep.
it's like super important for me that you have representatives of that and be like, hey, guess what? Let's talk about your vagina.
We
So,
should talk about it. All right. Well, is there anything else you would like to say about what you do, why it's important? Anything, any closing thoughts?
absolutely. It's just be open and be open to be wrong. A lot of people go into sex and they think it has to be one way, and it's not, or they go into a relationship or their lives thinking that they are attracted to a certain type of person, and they're not. And you go into a situation where you're like, hey, I thought I liked this, and in the middle of it, I didn't. So I just have to power through because I said I did, instead of being like, hey, you know what? This isn't working for me. I just want people to be able to be like, pause. Let's pause about this. What do I want? What do I need? What do I need to be empowered to become a better person sexually and express myself? So I
Yes.
think that there is like no problem of being quote unquote that bitch and being like, I need to work on myself for some time.
Yes.
And so, like, absolutely find out, fall in love with yourself sexually. That is so important because then you will advocate for yourself and you will feel more comfortable doing it and you'll have the stakes that is in it as well. So
Yes.
fall in love with yourself sexually.
Exactly. Well, I spent 21 years quote unquote attracted to men and then came out of quarantine a lesbian. So
And who told you that you were? Way before that.
you you knew it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Danny, for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. And I love you. And yes, you are wonderful.
I love you too.